TAS was conceived by Mr. J.R.D. Tata as a very elite service of top quality, professionally trained young managers who could be developed into top class leaders of the future.
It was conceived when there wasn't a comparable cadre in the private sector of the same stature and caliber that there was in the civil service.
These rural people comprise, the largest suppliers as well as the buyers of the products of the industry. And these young boys and girls who are going to become future business leaders of the group ought to understand how do the rural poor and urban poor behave.
And they gain experience, they gain empathy, they are able to see life in the correct perspective.
And what does it do for them? First, it tells them a reality that's in their backyard, which they've never experienced, but have probably conjured up. And it's good to experience it when you're young. Second, a manager is trained to influence authority in the circle which he controls. Suddenly in a village, I have no circle of influence. Nobody reports to me. I'm not accountable, and it tests whether I have the resolve to do something about it. It is almost creating the anti-leader and creating a person who learns to do things, influence the course of events, in spite of not having it within his circle of authority. That's a very important skill that a manager needs to learn. It brings out the humanity. You can't have a leader who's not humane. And I think that's such an important part of building the character of young people.
When we were told that for the rural project you are actually going into a village and staying there, first feeling was of excitement. Wow.
Being born and brought up in urban cities, we had no clue of what rural life was all about.
Gradually doubts started coming in. No electricity, no comfortable bed, there will be no cable TV, no internet. We were warned about incidents of diseases over there.
I was unsure whether I could completely communicate with them in the language that they speak.
I had this feeling that I'm going to do something good.
You just have 35 days to impact their lives. There is a sense of anticipation, anxiety, everything is mixed. It's a mixed bag of emotions.
Maybe we'll have a good time. Maybe there'll be a little bit of a tough time.
We're working with an organization known as Rural Communes.
And what we are working is on food and nutrition security for the local villagers over here, and to ensure sustained agriculture through water resource availability and accessibility.
Now our project is basically divided into 3 sub-modules. The first one of it is ensuring a permanent water access for irrigation throughout the year. If you consider this district, it is an area being a slopey terrain. There is dearth of water in the non-rainy season. As a result of that, they grow only rice on their fields and leave their lands fallow for the remaining 8 months.
We had to come up with innovative techniques and solutions for accessing the groundwater that is there. We ourselves researched into it and we came up with the tidal pump technology.
The second thing was once the water is available and their land is made arable, they need to know what to be grown on their crops. We analyzed the local crops which can be grown over here. We came up with a list of 15 crops which would be the most productive for them. The third thing that follows after you have cultivated crops in your farm is that you will have excess agricultural produce. The third module was the use of an existing dehydrator technology that rural communes possessed to dehydrate these fruits and vegetables for future use.
And it can be very easily taken out, rehydrated, which is essentially putting it in water for about 10 minutes.
We even extended this idea to a possibility of setting up a cooperative of farmers which will do this on a slightly larger scale.
We went and had a meeting with the Vice President of Foods and Beverages in TAJ. And we came up with a novel offering for them. We call it conscience dining. So TAJ would source these fruits and vegetables from this cooperative society, which they would introduce in a sub-menu, a part of the main menu, Christian conscience dining. A certain percentage of that money goes supporting this cooperative society of dehydration that we've set up. They're considering it. We have our fingers crossed that it goes through.
The challenges that the project carried with it was basically to change their mindset and to make them believe that there are ways in which we can actually have water access throughout the year.
It's been quite enlightening in the fact that so little of our time and effort can radically change the lives of so many people. It's a great feeling.
Sir, Dorabji Tata Trust is associated with this NGO called BIAF. They have a sister concern in South Gujarat, which is called Dhruva. The cooperatives were set up for processing of cashew. So the brief was to professionalize the supply chain, the procurement for cashew processing at Dhruva. I started from very scratch studying the whole supply chain of cashews. I visited some 4 cooperative processing centers located in different parts of the area. In the supply chain, I have suggested to remove one stage which will save them at least 3 to 4 rupees a kg. Second suggestion was relook at the packing. Currently, the packing that they are doing is tin packing. I did some research and suggested a few alternate ways of packing where they can save at least 5 rupees a kg. I also tried to find a market potential for a carbonated drink out of cashew apples. My experience has been really enlightening, as in the hardships that they face, especially the women. I mean, they have to get water. So this lady used to make at least 3 to 4 trips of the village well, which was around half a kilometer from her house. And her house was on a hilltop. Imagine, you know, having those 3 baltis in your hand and climbing up that hill 3 to 4 times every day. Is shocking. There will be times when things would not be going very well. So during those times, if I can remember these people, the difficult times that I would see would be far much lesser than what they go through every day. I hope it makes a better human being of me. I was in fact assigned 2 projects at BIAF. The first project was the planning and development of a campus at Wagholi. I looked at the entire Wagholi campus development with a perspective to have it as a showcase of BIAF's activities. So not just have it as an incubation center which would be visited by a couple of scientists in a year, but more something wherein, you know, you could have children coming in from local schools where they can experience agriculture, learn and then take back with them. The second project was a perspective planning for a green and appropriate technologies resource center. It is meant to gather knowledge which is gained across projects. That may be solar lighting, it may be something like a treadle pump. So these are local knowledges which are gained over projects, but these need to be captured into the system so that it can be implemented at other places. It gave me an opportunity to try to really interact with farmers. When I stayed over in the night there and I saw the storm clouds coming in the city, we'll say, wow, it is nice. But I saw the look in the farmer's eyes because the entire harvest was lying there drying. If the rains come down now, they will destroy his crop. That is the reality. So now when it rained in the last few days, before it flashed on the TVs, I knew that there's going to be a lot of damage. This time I felt the pain of the farmers. And I realized that I need to do something about the country as a whole. And I will actively search for opportunities where I can possibly make this difference.
My community project was with the People's Science Institute based out of Dehradun, and we worked on something called the Rural Tourism Project. So essentially what is happening in the state of Uttarakhand is that the rate of migration is quite high. So the People's Science Institute was looking at alternative livelihood options, and rural tourism was one of the options. And we had to work on a business plan for a rural tourism. So the first time we just went around to look from a tourist perspective that what are the things that can be offered from this village in terms of unexplored treks, natural beauty, etc. And we held village level meetings and PRA exercises to get their views. We came up with an elaborate marketing plan so that they can take it forward. I have a lot of interesting memories of this entire project. When we were traveling in those villages, what we noticed was that no matter how poor the people we came across, everyone would have a smile on their faces and they would greet you and they would invite you in for a cup of tea. In fact, some of them were so insistent, and I think I've had more tea in this 1 month than I've ever had in my life, and wonderful tea at that.
In the the current stint with BIAF, I'm working on 2 projects. One basically was the Mandwa cooperative, which works in cashew nut shell liquid. So they currently have a small pilot plant there. So I basically had to assess that plant and understand if a larger plant is set up, then the business plan for it. The second one was here at Udli Kanchan. This institute basically works in developing of fodder seeds for fodder crops, which give the right amount of nutrition to get maximum milk production from those livestock. So my basic project was that to understand how they can expand their reach to the market and to the farmers. It was important for me to first of all understand what are the needs of the farmers, so understanding and interacting with them. I also worked with few SHG women and understood from them how they've come out of deprivation and poverty. And from that I put down a plan as to how the Central Research Station could tap these women to increase their reach for the products that they make. I think what I learned was their means of satisfaction in life are very simple. So somewhere we get lost in that we want so much more in life all the time. The simplicity in life somewhere get lost. I was staying in areas where there were no lights and the phone connectivity wasn't good. Plus episodes of bed bugs and mice in the room. But they were very hospitable people.
My work was focused with the Orissa part of Harsha Trust. They provide the tribal women with the means for starting a poultry farm themselves. My major focus was how to improve the profit. We did the market analysis for the entire area, the cost benefit analysis. Second was improving the structure of the cooperative in terms of creating some sort of an incentive mechanism so that the tribal women are motivated. One instance where we had gone to meet the group, and especially one of the ladies in that group, her farm was destroyed. Still, during the whole meeting, she was so positive about the whole industry. She never cribbed, she never asked for money. After the meeting was over, she took us to dance with them. Her positive attitude actually drove me and created an impact on me. When government had waived off the 40,000 crore loan for the farmers, I thought, what a stupid idea is this? What a waste of money. I was only thinking of the business angle. But now I realize that what impact that one decision would have had on the lives of lakhs of people. This has just made me more aware and more sensitive.
This rural stint has been like an eye-opener for me. When I used to have rice at my home, I never used to think that how much sweat of the farmer has gone into it.
After the project, I found it difficult to go to a barista and have a cup of coffee, because I just thought that I was wasting so much money on something like that. So I think at the core there are certain values that this project has instilled in me.
I was able to stay in circumstances and situations which probably I wouldn't have got into on my own. So as a person, I've become a little more confident about myself.
Before taking any decisions, I would clearly think of the impact that it would have on the people staying in the larger part of India.
I think now I have a better idea of how they think, what they think, and what do they look into a product or service.
This, I'm sure, will help me in my career ahead. I have been made to see that how diverse the country is.
It helps us inculcate a sense of belonging rather than just to oneself, to the community. That's basically the ethos of the Tata Group also.
We have had a very successful run of this first really rural community stint. Some of the interesting experiences that people have talked about have been about living in the villages. Some of them have been about understanding the environment in which the NGOs operate, the kind of challenges that they face, the kind of lifestyle and issues that you begin to understand in the informal context when you're living in that community for a period of time.
While they are focused on results, at the same time I think this essential sense of that basic appreciation of how do we live in an ecosystem to create value is holistically shaping an individual to move forward, to face different...
When they were to work in different companies, they were to spread the word, they were to lead the teams and the companies that they work for to go in these directions.
I'm happy that the TAS officers have taken it very enthusiastically. They have really worked hard to make it a successful program, and our partners have acknowledged that they have really added value to their work. So that